Like when you hear police reform, for you, what comes to mind? I'll use your definition as we're going.
So, what I think of when I hear police reform, I think of just honestly just oversight because today's day and age, even though like we have body cams, we have people like videotaping everything police do, there's still like a huge lack. And I'm also like using Minneapolis Police Department as an example because I do live in the area,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw after George Floyd, we saw a great. It all came out like how terrible the oversight, like how the lack of oversight that they had, and I'm mostly talking about like, yes, we have like all these like big like we have the everyone has like a camera in their pocket now, you can easily like videotape them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's still like you still see these like videos of like cops straight up doing terrible things and being in the wrong, like doing illegal stuff and
Mm-hmm.
getting away with it. So that's what I mean when I talk about lack of oversight because we see it happen and yet nothing happens about it.
Well, real quick, just before we get too far into it, when you say oversight, what to you are you looking for in oversight? Or now, are you talking more about what the government holds accountable? Are you talking about more things on camera? Are you talking about basically following up on more things, like on more incidents? What when you say that you're looking for more oversight, what do you mean by that? More
More
supervisors, more sergeants, lieutenants, like.
more like following up because like we we have the body cams now.
Mhm.
And I know Jacksonville is now doing like what weekly releases of body cams now, like body cam footage.
Mhm.
I don't think it should be to that level. I think like and I'm gonna say third party a lot because I do believe a lot of the oversight should be done by a third party because a friend of mine pointed this out very well. Like we don't have like restaurants do their own like um, inspections. We don't like have scientists like they do. They don't like I said, rambling so crazy, man. Um, but like health and safety standards,
Whoops.
like we don't have like the restaurants themselves do it. So why are we having police departments do their own internal investigations? Like it should. That's one thing that I believe should be like done by a third party because then we see situations where someone like here, I wasn't living here just like yet, but remember how a few years ago there was a guy that was pulled over. He got out of his car. He was holding his wallet in his hand. He had his hands up like this, and he got shot.
I don't remember a specific. I mean, I've seen videos similar to that. I can't say if it's a
He was like
specific one or not.
in the Air Force. He was shot. That happened here in the Twin Cities area. That cop was fired,
Mm-hmm.
but like a week or two later, he was rehired.
Hmm.
Even though like he was like from the footage, like it was clearly like not a weapon, and he claimed it was a weapon. And at least with the Minneapolis Police Department, like the lack of like actual disciplinary action against them is appalling.
So on the third party thing, do you? I'm assuming that you mean that it should be some type of government agency, some type of federal
Right.
agency that should basically police the state level, or so would you have it where it would be like the federal police is state, the state police is
Yeah.
local, like basically
Yeah.
just trickle it
It
down
makes
like that,
sense. Do it like that. And then like
and
I don't know if
abolish.
like body cam footage should be like all body cam footage should be like reviewed all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but like if an incident happens, that body cam footage should automatically go to like the the next and the higher up entity to be investigated. Obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
great example, someone gets shot during a someone gets shot while an officer is attempting to make an arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that should be investigated, and that's definitely where like a body cam would be essential and clearing, like showing like, oh, he was in the right, he was in the wrong, and it was should definitely be used for like disciplinary action.
I know that anytime there is a shooting, there is an investigation almost immediately. How much how much do you honestly think that people getting frustrated about police is actually due to the police being in the wrong or just them not knowing the full story?
I think it's a combination of both. Because like, so with when they finally released the body cam footage of George Floyd being killed, which was not supposed to be released at all to public. Like they even said, like they're doing like public viewings where you can go in and see it, and then somehow got leaked into Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
where I ended up watching it. And from watching it, because before I was like, oh, all four of them are guilty. Now watching it, I'm like, one or two of them may have like no, it may not have known what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
but the other two definitely were in the wrong. So now I've shifted my opinion. Like I don't know if the one right behind Chauvin on his back should get his job back, but the guy on the very end, I could see him getting his job back because like his view of what was going on towards George Floyd's head like is completely obscured. Like he had no idea what was going on. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm sure we're gonna get into this later, but like the body cam footage showed like the whole situation was just not handled very well.
Do you see an issue like when you think of reform or anything? Do you see an issue with training? Do you see an issue with anything type of checkups or anything or certification? I say certifications for lack of a better word, but the officers might need or anything like because so
Well,
far what I get from reform is they just kind of need oversight. But I mean, with with the all the investigations being done without releasing anything, I see that as kind of hard to reform based off because it's already happening. It's
right,
just they don't release everything until the investigation is done, and it's that waiting
right.
period where people get frustrated. But what
Um,
about training or anything? Do you see anything on that?
well, I know here when Mayor Frey, which I know a lot of people gave him shit, but he, I will say, he definitely learned from the George Floyd protests because there was and riots. Because a few weeks ago, a riot broke out downtown, and he squashed that very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when he came into office, he and the police chief decided to like get rid of warriors training, which in the name like probably shouldn't be trained. Like police officers probably shouldn't be trained that. Like that sounds like more like for military and SWAT members.
Mm-hmm.
And we're heavily pushing de-escalation training. And this is where we're going to get to the issue of the police union here. They have way too much power here because Bob Kroll, or as he's well known here, Bob KK Kroll, um, which is a nickname that he's gotten around here,
Mm-hmm.
he somehow secured private funding for officers in the department to get that warriors training. And from my experience with warriors training, we're taught escalation of force, not de-escalation. Like you get shot at, you return that fire with superior amounts of fire. Which, granted, if you get in a firefight, it makes sense. But
Mm-hmm.
also, like, um, it's pretty hard because you don't know what's going through the officer's mind at the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
but
I can tell you from what I've seen and the opinions of people that I've heard that have been not obviously in the same situations because every situation is unique, but similar
yeah,
situations with um, basically chasing suspects, suspects getting violent or anything, is that at the end of the day, all the officer is thinking about is going home.
right,
Ultimately, that's what their thought is.